Well, I'm really happy to have you here today, Matt Watson, and you are the founder and chief tech officer of Full Scale, which you're going to tell us about here in just a minute. Welcome.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. I'm Coach Lee with Action Coach Business Coaching, and we're doing business spotlight interviews of business owners so the business owners can tell their story and other people can hear, the entrepreneurs that you are, you have amazing stories and it's fun to hear. I'm looking forward to our interview. So without waiting any longer, why don't you tell us what you do at Full Scale? And I'm happy to have you tell us what you do at some of your other businesses too. I don't see how you can not mention the Startup Hustle podcast. That's pretty cool.
That is probably one of my favorite things that I do is a host of the Startup Hustle podcast, which is for entrepreneurs. It's a top 100 podcast. We get millions of downloads a year. So I definitely have a lot of fun with that. I'm also one of the owners of a company called Full Scale that does offshore software development. So we have 300 employees in the Philippines. And I started that about 5 years ago, actually, because I needed to hire software developers and there was just no way I could afford them in Kansas City.
Right.
Because I needed to hire like 10 of them and I already had 10 of them. And so I ended up building a team in the Philippines and it went really, really well. And a few friends I knew saw what I was doing and asked for some help. And then I hired like 100 people in the next 6 months. So it was like a crazy,
Is so
crazy
cool.
ordeal.
Mhm.
And so we have a lot of fun with that, and we work with over 100 different companies doing software development for them.
That is amazing. So what's your time spent at these two businesses? Is it equal or?
So I actually don't work full time at Full Scale. My business
Okay.
partner, Matt DeCourcy, runs the
Okay.
business, and I do some things from the side to help where needed, but we have a whole management team and stuff. And the good news is our employees do all the work. So
Mhm.
it's a somewhat autonomous business. So it's a nice
That is incredible. So have you been to the Philippines?
12 times.
12 times. Okay, so you are really, really engaged in the process and you know your people.
Yeah.
That's
I met my wife over there as part of this and
okay.
got married and yeah, and so now I own a house there, I own a car there, and yeah, I go about once a year.
Wow. That is fantastic. Well, congratulations on meeting your love of your life there. That's nice.
Yeah.
Like that. So tell us kind of what you do there. Who are your customers then? So they're your
Yeah.
employees and your team, and who do you serve?
Yeah, most of our customers are small startups or companies that are in kind of growth stage that are just looking for affordable software development talent. Software developers are very expensive. Developers can make $100,000 to $200,000 a year, and so they're looking for us to help them scale up because they need affordable talent, and you can hire software developers offshore for 60-70% less than you can hire them in the US. But the biggest problem in the US is there's just simply not enough talent. Like in Kansas City, there's supposedly 6,000 job openings in IT.
Wow.
um,
Okay.
only everybody thinks that you can take anybody and train them to be a software developer, but only about 15% of the people on the planet have the IQ to do it.
Okay.
And so there's only a certain amount of people that can do it anyways. I mean, it takes a high level of intelligence and,
Okay.
and
Okay.
aptitude for it. So
Wow. So are we going to catch up in the United States with that?
no,
We're not.
no. So the United States is only like what 4 or 5% of the population on the planet, right? And today we have about 10% of the software developers in the world, and that number goes down every year.
Okay.
Because all these other countries all over the world are producing way more talent than we do. And
Hmm.
you and I are in Kansas, and I don't remember what the stat was, but it was something like all the colleges in Kansas combined only produce it's like 200 or 500 computer science graduates a year. Like it's a pretty low number. There's just not enough talent. There's not enough people.
Probably not enough educators either. Then, if that's the case, I guess it's just a big old problem all the way around.
Yeah, and there's a lot of companies that are like there's a lot of companies here in Kansas City and all over the place that are trying to help people switch careers and do that kind of stuff. And actually at my last company that I had, two of our best employees, one of them was a manager at McDonald's before, and the other one was a mortician. and they went through like a local boot camp, for several weeks, and then learned to do software development, and they made the transition. They didn't need to go to a standard 4-year college. So
Okay.
that is definitely a career path too.
Wow. So is that because that person was really smart? You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah, they were very smart.
Okay, because I was going to say you can be really smart and work at a lot of jobs, but you can't work a lot of jobs and not be smart. So
Yeah.
you might not necessarily know who's working at McDonald's that has the potential to be a software developer.
Yeah, it all comes down to having the intelligence and aptitude for it, right?
Okay,
And software development is definitely more of a trade. You don't need to go to a 4-year college to do it.
that's interesting. So is it a right brain or a left brain, if you know what I mean? So is it that process oriented engineer side of the brain, or is it?
Yeah, it's extremely logical.
Okay. That's fascinating. Well, I like how you've been able to capitalize on that and help businesses here in the States. Or where are most of your customers located?
Probably more than half of them are in Kansas City, but they're all over the place.
Okay. So I ask you, you said your best customers like startups and software developers. I've been interviewing a lot of businesses just lately, and a lot of them have the .io. So I wonder,
Yeah.
do you probably know how many businesses are starting up in this IO, discipline? Is that the new? Are we going to?
Well,
Yeah.
people are just using the .io domain name because it's, easier to get the names, right? Like we use fullscale.io, which stands for Indian Ocean, by the way.
I
And
didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, it's for some little country that's over there, I believe. But I don't know why that became a popular thing, and a lot of tech companies and stuff are using .io. There's some really big ones, famous ones that do even. I don't remember who they were, but every .com is taken, right? That is very good. So
yeah, pretty much. Okay.
people are using .io. It's pretty popular.
Yeah, I thought it stood for something other than Indian Ocean, but I don't know, intelligent operation, or I don't know what, but who knows? Well, so one of the questions I wanted to ask you was around COVID. I actually had a VA during COVID that lived in the Philippines, and her team, we just kept on working during COVID. Has COVID impacted your business in any way?
Yeah. So, as Full Scale started 5 years ago and we were hiring a lot of people, I mentioned we hired like 100 people pretty fast. We thought we were going to be in the real estate business. Like, if we're going to hire 5-10 people a month, like we're going to need a lot of office space, right? Like you're forever like need real estate. And so we have 2 stories of a high-rise building over there. And all of our employees were required to work in the office before COVID. We didn't allow remote work at all. It was highly frowned upon. And then of course, when COVID happened, everything locked down and we had to work remote. And being in the Philippines definitely has some more unique challenges with that because of infrastructure there is not to the same level as it is here.
Yeah.
But overall, it worked fine for us, and all of our employees went remote. And the Philippines took COVID way more serious than
Yes,
the
they
United
did.
States did in
Yeah.
regards to lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. Like they did not screw around with anything. Like there is no second guessing what the government wants to do there. Like everybody follows orders and they lay down the law.
My team member was basically shunned from her apartment building. She had to lock herself in. They wouldn't take her trash. It's kind of an interesting thing.
We had one employee who just disappeared. Like nobody heard from them. They just disappeared, and they threw him in like a quarantine center there, which was in like some kind of hotel or something like that for like 10 to 14 days. They just disappeared off the face of the planet. But to answer your question, we went remote, and it worked really, really well for us, and we have since stayed remote.
Okay.
So now we have 2 stories of an office building that are completely empty.
You got a bargain there, huh? So a bargain for someone.
And so it also changed it. So now we're hiring more nationwide. So before we only hired in one city there.
I was going to ask you,
now we're hiring people all over the place. And
what cities are you in primarily, or it doesn't matter now?
Well, so our headquarters is in a city called Cebu City, which nobody's ever heard of, but it's the second largest city in the country behind Manila. Most people have heard of Manila.
Manila's huge.
It's huge. And now we're hiring all over the place.
Okay. And word's probably spreading too, that you're hiring and that kind of thing.
So in Cebu City, I think we're one of the top 3 IT employers in the whole city.
Okay. So
we're one of the cool places to work.
Okay. That's nice. I like it. Oh, well, so you've been in business. How old were you when you started your first business?
I was 22.
And what was that business?
So it was a company called Vin Solutions. It was based in Kansas City, and it was CRM system, sales, marketing, inventory management, a bunch of things for car dealerships. And then
Oh my
we
gosh.
s- we
Okay.
sold that to Auto Trader in 2011 for $150 million.
Dude, 22 years old and you're doing that. You
Yeah.
crushed. I love it. That is so amazing. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm having fun here. I have heard of Vin Solutions. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. I was the original founder and brain behind it. Yep.
Okay, so are you what are your strengths then as an entrepreneur? Is it the being the entrepreneur or is it all this other stuff? I mean, this was an IT company too, right? Vin Solutions.
Yeah. I
CRM.
mean, I'm a software developer by trade, so that's what have always done. And I've always been like the chief technology officer, the product guy. More than anything, I'm the product guy. And a lot of entrepreneurs that you meet are more sales kinds
Yeah.
of personalities, right? They're usually very salesy kind of people. And I'm a little bit of that, but more on the tech side. And so I'm a little bit of a purple squirrel. I'm a little more unique.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I bring a kind of different perspective to all of it.
It's kind of cool though. I noticed the successful entrepreneurs that I work with do have usually have a little more on the side of logic, because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, there's logic around business. And if you can figure out the right process and do it again and again and again, and that's what successful business owners do. So
And we also know that it takes talent and hard work and all these things, but a lot of business success comes down to timing too. I mean, we were in the right place at the right time for that business originally when
mhm.
everything went to e-commerce, went to digital marketing. We were like on the forefront of that, and we were in the recession in 2008 and 2009. All the car dealers stopped doing traditional marketing. They all moved to digital marketing, and we had like the best product in the industry for it. And
Good timing.
we
Wow.
were timing is always an essential part usually to these stories,
Uh-huh.
and it benefited us. We hit the timing.
That is so great. That is so much fun. Okay, so one of the other questions I didn't have on my sheet that I'm going to ask you is, so you had this business, Vin Solutions, at 22. What would you tell your 20-year-old self if you could say hello to him today?
Oh, I don't know. I guess to do exactly what I did. I don't know.
That's great. That is something to be really proud of. Yeah, and sometimes people who have success early on don't have success again and again, because early success can sometimes give you a kind of a big head, and you think you can do everything right, and it sounds like that didn't happen to you.
Well, you definitely think that you all of a sudden have like the golden touch, right? And you can do this again. And I had another company after Vin Solutions, and it was, successful. We were on the Inc. 5000. It was a fast growing company and stuff, but it definitely, wasn't a grand slam like the first
Mhm.
one. Like we built a successful business, but it was really hard. I mean, it was not easy by any means, and it's a grind. And
Mhm.
definitely every business is very hard and unique, and you just learn a ton from all of them. And I would have been smarter if I would have stayed in automotive.
Okay.
What made it super hard is I went to a totally different industry doing something
Okay.
totally different. I should
Yeah.
have stayed in automotive.
But you had the money at least to do it with that. So, but now you have that experience, and then you've moved on to this, which is totally different too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was the second company?
It was a company called Stackify.
Stackify. And what was that?
So our customers used our product to understand the performance of their applications.
Okay.
So if you've ever been on a website and it's slow and you're getting errors and you don't know
Mhm.
why or whatever, right? Like, so our software would tell the developers when that happened and why it happened.
Interesting. So that at that point, your developers were your customers.
Yeah.
It's full circle here that you can
Yeah,
help.
which is by far the worst people in the world to ever sell something to.
Why is that?
They they don't like salespeople. They don't like being sold to, and they're just very difficult. I mean, you can't email them, you can't get them on the phone, like you can't advertise to them. Like they're just very difficult to deal with. And
You're in their
as
head,
a
in their processes, and that's where they want to live.
well, and as a serial entrepreneur, after you've done this for a while, you realize like the most important thing of any of business is your go to market strategy, right? Like how do I actually sell this thing is actually profoundly more important than whatever it is you're selling. And the go to market strategy and selling to software developers was just extremely difficult, and
Mm,
that was the big challenge.
that's interesting. Okay. Well, you won on that deal because now now they help you make a lot of money, so that's great. Love it. So you're in the, I'm going to say you're in the tech industry. Is that what you would call it, tech industry?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So what do you find most inspiring? Could you tell me how old you are now? Just curious, or barely ish, or
I'm 41 now.
41. Okay, so you've had 20 good years of this experience.
Yeah.
What do you think is most inspiring about this industry, which we know is still in its infancy, right?
Well, that's the thing, is it continues to change, right? Like as soon as you don't think it's changing, something like Chat GPT comes out, you know,
Cool.
5 months ago or whatever, which
Hmm.
is totally upending all sorts of things and making it easier to do AI related stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
it doesn't do all forms of AI. People have been doing lots of AI stuff for a while,
Hmm.
but it has been kind of a game changer in the generative AI stuff, which is like the content creation, like
Uh-huh.
chat and all that. And there's so many startups and companies doing different things with that. I'm investing in one now that does some really cool stuff with AI, with ChatGPT, and it just continues to change. Is the point, right? From
Hmm.
mobile, like I built a mobile app before the iPhone existed. Like that
Oh,
was a whole
really?
different kind of building mobile software, right? And then the iPhone comes out, and now building mobile apps is like very common, right? Like so things just continue to change, every 5 years or so. There's big shifts of things that happen.
Did you know you built a mobile app before there was an iPhone, or did you not, or was it?
I don't know if I actually would have used the words mobile app, but it
Okay.
was, yeah, it was actually built for like the old, I don't know if you remember like the old Palm Pilots. It was like for the
Yeah,
old Palm Pilots
had
kind of
one.
thing.
Had one.
Yeah. Yep. Long time
Okay.
ago.
Well, there you go. That's cool. I haven't tried to do a mobile app thing once, and I tell you, that's one of those things you got to get to the market early for that too. It has to be a new idea and not just a new app if you're going to do it in
Yeah.
the market.
Ours was just an extension of VinSolutions product. So that's why people
Okay.
used it.
Oh, that makes sense. That's cool. Well, this interview has gone very fast for me. Just so you know, I have find you very fascinating. You're young. You're interesting. I don't think you're gonna. Are you gonna have anything to include in a newsletter or an offer or anything? Can I just? How about we just tell people to go check out the Hustle podcast?
Yes. Check out Startup Hustle. Absolutely.
Because I feel like, I'll be there with you on that. I'll be listening, and then I know a number of people that I'll promote that to, because especially after knowing you, um, that's I will definitely listen to you. I can tell you that.
Awesome.
So, what's the best way for people to find you, Matt?
You can definitely find me on LinkedIn. Just look for Matt Watson. Probably the next best place is TikTok. I'm not TikTok famous, but I'm getting there, and I create a lot of cool content. So you can
All
also try
right,
and
what's
find
your
me there.
TikTok? Is it Matt Watson, or was it what is?
It's Matt Watson KC.
Okay, Matt Watson, KC. Well, you got a TikTok fan here. I love it. I just talked to a couple of guys yesterday that I interviewed. I spent half an hour watching their TikTok last night. It was just
Oh wow.
amazing what their presence is, and they're doing really cool things with it. So I'll
It's also been we talk about technology that's a game changer. TikTok was a game changer that totally upended all other social media.
It did, didn't it? And who would have ever thought? Yeah, how about we come up with an app where people look at something that maybe goes 3 minutes, but could go 20 seconds, and maybe there's no words, and maybe there are, and maybe, I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? What it does.
Well, what they did that was different is if you used Instagram or something, only your friends would see the content. So if you created content, like hardly anybody could see it. Or on TikTok, whoever your friends are may never see what you create anyways. It shows it to whoever it thinks wants to see that type of content the most,
Which is AI, using
which
AI.
is a total game changer as a content creator, because you can create content and you'll find your people eventually will follow you. They'll hunt you down.
That is
So
interesting. So is that the advantage to TikTok then, is that people
yes,
will find you? Okay, so you got to get out there,
yes,
you got to put out content if you want to be heard and seen and remembered and all of that. And it may take,
yeah.
I think it is taking longer for some. Early on, you could get famous overnight, right? I think it does take a little longer. Would you say?
For business purposes, you're not trying to go viral, right? You're just trying to create solid educational content that your potential customers, the problems that they have, educational stuff, right? And they will find you. If you create high quality content, people will find you. And I also post the same kind of content on LinkedIn and other platforms.
Mhm.
So I don't do it just for TikTok. I repurpose it and I put it in
Yeah.
multiple places. And from a business perspective, it's extremely good for marketing. it works extremely well. So
Now, are you seeing the it's my understanding that TikTok is mostly women my age. If you're older, it's women, and if you're younger, it's everybody, but the real sweet spot is like 14 to like 40 or something. Is that changing? Is it going to be like Facebook and pretty soon even grandma's on TikTok?
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what the demographics are, and I do a little bit of advertising on there to promote my account and stuff, and
Okay.
you can choose ages, and so I do,
Okay.
the older ages. I don't want the 14-year-olds,
Right. No.
right? So, but yeah, it's I think there's what's great is most people think of TikTok and they think of like people dancing or whatever, right? But it's actually more of a choose your own adventure. If you want to go on there and look up interior design or knitting or real estate or business tips, whatever it is you're interested in, it's all there.
Yeah, business coaching, how to get out of a ticket. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of feeds on how to avoid getting pulled over, or what you can say to a cop. Not sure why. I have a couple of clients that are attorneys, and I follow them, and maybe that's why. But
Maybe.
I feel like I've learned a lot on TikTok. I really do.
I do all the time.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Matt, it was really great to visit with you. You're an interesting guy, and I'm so happy we have you in Kansas City. And I feel excited that such this Vin Solution story and the Stackify and TikTok and Full Scale, it's pretty amazing.